The following thoughts on Happy Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you.
Are you feeling classy today? Sit down, pour a glass of wine, and listen to Happy Hour.
You're tuned in to Happy Hour, an hour where Happy rants about something. Sit back and listen in. Happy Hour is on now.
What up? What is happening? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. And on the phone line from the nationally syndicated Bob and Tom show, Bob is on the phone line. What's up, man?
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great, man. First of all, I'm a big fan. I used to listen to you. I sort of picked up the reception when you were on 100.7 in Illinois, and I would listen when I can. So this is an honor to have you on Happy Hour.
Well, thanks very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
And so the last 2 months you were on what seemed like a very nice vacation. I saw you and your wife, Becky, would live tweet it, and I was a bit jealous. It seemed like a fun time. So how was your vacation this summer?
Oh, fantastic. We our main trip was through the Adirondacks in New York. I think most people think New York is just a big city, where in fact it's one of the most beautiful states in our country.
And what were some of the best parts about the vacation?
Let's see. Traveling, camping. We did I guess what you call a little boondocking, where you don't need electricity. You just run off of just run off the land. Camp like you used to in the old days, but you actually have an Airstream with you. You don't have to sleep on the ground. But it was a great trip. We saw a lot of places we had never seen before. That's the beautiful thing about traveling on highways. There's so much in America to see that we want to see as much as we can. So that's our goal here in the future.
Was it one of those things where did the vacation begin to drag on? Were you itching to go back on the radio, or did you love every second?
Oh, loved every second. Absolutely. There's radio is a fantastic form of media. I love it with all my heart, but I didn't have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was nice to sleep in that long. The body really enjoyed it.
Does that take a toll on you for the last, let's say, 30 years to wake up every morning at 4? Or is it something where you wake up every day and you go, I love my job? How does that work for you?
When the alarm goes off, it sucks to no end. But once you get into the studio, it's fantastic. The toughest part, in my opinion, they pay me to get out of bed. So I struggle to get out, but once you have your shower and a cup of coffee, everything's right with the world, and you go in and talk about it. So it is. People say, "Oh, you must be used to this." No, you never are. It is hard to get out of bed every morning.
What is the key to having a great show when you're on very little sleep? Because I can imagine it must be weird since you're heard in so many cities when that mic's on and you're like, crap, I'm talking on the radio. Do you ever have that moment?
Well, you have a good support staff.
Yeah.
When you have Tom, Christy, and Chick, it makes things so much easier because they're great broadcasters. And, if one of us is not feeling well, someone else picks up, and you just keep going. And we can tell. I mean, we've been together for so long. We can tell when somebody is not hitting on all 8 pistons. So it's a good mix with the group, and we know how to, just figure out what the other one's feeling that day. If someone's not feeling all well, I mean, you kind of step up and help them out.
What is it about everyone on your team that is so special? How have you guys made it work for so long?
Well, everybody brings it to the show, and if you have a problem outside, you don't bring it into the studio. You come in and do your 4-hour show, and it's like, I don't know, it's like being an actor or something where they have to go on stage. They have to portray a part, and no matter what's going on in their life, they have to keep going. I mean, you can't walk out being, say, a court jester and not be funny. If you're not funny, you're not going to. Well, it's off with your head, I think. So I don't know. It's just a good group of people who are professionals, and we know what we're being paid to do, and we do it.
How did you meet everybody on the Bob and Tom show?
I met Tom in Petoskey, Michigan. I was working at a radio station, WMBN in Petoskey, and it was a FM, AM. The AM was WPZ. Pardon me, and I wasn't making a whole lot of money because it was small-time radio, and I attended bar at night to supplement the income. And Tom came in after a Jay Giles concert, and I served him a drink, and we started talking, and he came by the station the next day, spoke with my owner, general manager, and she hired him as my program director. And we have been working together ever since. And that was in 1980.
What was it about Tom that drew you in?
Confidence, humor. He was a good guy, good hang.
And were there some things you guys would do to hang out? Like when you first began doing a show, I feel like you guys don't know each other that much. So would you guys hang out outside of the show to get to know each other?
Oh yeah, we did that for quite a while. In fact, we were after the first year, we ended up being roommates. So we got to know each other very well. And it really helped with creating the team, and it was I guess radio magic because we never intended to be in radio. It was a total mistake for us. I walked into a radio station, the MBN and WPZ. And my knowledge of radio was zilch, and I walked in and asked if they needed someone to spin records for their disc jockeys. And the general manager guy, his name was Gary Buffington, he goes, no, they do that themselves. Do you want to be a disc jockey? I said, sure. And that's how I got into radio. It was a total fluke. And meeting Tom was a total fluke, and having a morning show was a total fluke. Never something that we prepared for in life. It just happened. And I don't know if that was the key to our success, but it certainly helped.
Who are some people that have helped you and Tom and maybe given you guys some advice through all these years? Were there some radio consultants, or were there people that just kind of helped you along the way?
No, it was since we started in small-time radio, the guy that when I first got hired by Gary Buffington, there was a great guy who had been in radio forever named Tom Chorley, and Tom showed me all the ropes of what you do and what you don't do. And so I learned, I guess it was kind of an on-air internship, although I was being paid, to learn radio. And the same thing happened with Tom. While he was in DeLand, Florida, he was on air for a year there. So we both learned what radio was. And when we had finally met and we started, goofing around on the air, we knew what the rules were and what they weren't, and what we could do and what we couldn't. And it just happened. We were just two guys who wanted to make people laugh. And our success came when we moved from the small radio station in town to the large 100,000-watt radio station in Petoskey. It was WJML. And we did mornings, and we just kicked ass. It was a lot of fun, and there were consultants who would tell us, hey, you're doing it wrong. But, we were making people laugh. And when the ratings came out, the day after the consultant told us we were doing it wrong, we came out with a 44 share in the morning.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And it was like, what? We're doing it wrong? And next thing you know, we're getting offers from around the country to go places, and we got hired at WFBQ in Indianapolis, and that was in 1983, and we have been there ever since.
What is the key to having great ratings all these years, especially since you've been at the same place all these years?
Program content, making your people laugh, making them just keeping them abreast of what's going on in the world today, making fun of what's going on in the world today, just giving them, I guess, the lighter side of life instead of the 9 to 5, I don't want to go to work today routine. Make them happy to get in their car and take a listen. So it's if I knew exactly what it was, I would be the richest man in radio, but I don't. I don't know. It's just the main thing is to, I guess, make your listeners happy, if that's what you're intending to be. If you're intending to be a news broadcaster, well, you have to broadcast the news, and you have to do it, I guess, a way to entertain and inform is the key to good ratings, in my opinion.
How did it feel when you guys went from just being on in Indianapolis to then being syndicated? How did that work?
Well, we had done 60 comedy albums, and there was a survey in the radio industry asking who was the most stolen from show and radio, and it turned out to be us. We would put these comedy albums out, and disc jockeys around the country would grab them. They'd play little pieces of it, but never give us credit, or they would take one of the bits on the album and re-record it and claim it was theirs. So we decided, hey, if we're the most stolen from show, well, why don't we try syndicating and see if that works? And Frank Wood out of Cincinnati had just acquired our radio station. It was Broadcast Alchemy. It was the name of his company. And he goes, hey, why don't we get this syndication thing started? So we started with Evansville, Indiana, and Fort Wayne, Indiana, just to stay in the state with us. And it spread like wildfire. We went from 2 affiliates to 150 affiliates in about 2 years.
How does that feel? Does it seem like real life, or does it just seem like something that is fake? When you go from having 2 towns to 150, what is that like, Bob?
Well, you know what? You don't realize, I still don't realize that we have listeners all over the United States and, parts of Europe and the World Wide Web. What it's done is amazing. But you're sitting in a room with 3 other people, and all you do is talk with them every morning, and that's what radio is to me. I don't think of it as how many people are listening. I think of it as I go to the studio in the morning and have the time of my life. So I don't even think about how many cities we're in. It's just go in there, and I try to make Tom, Christy, and Chick laugh as best I can.
And now when you are syndicated in all these different cities, were you ever worried about the ratings in each town? Or was it one of those things where you just said, I'll just keep doing my show and hope for the best?
Yeah, you just keep doing the show. And if we, and when you move into a new city, it takes a while for people to change their morning habits. They're used to what used to be the rock station, and many people complain because they don't get the rock music they once had. But it takes a while for everyone to change, how they wake up. And once they get a little hint of what's going on, they want, let me try that again. I'll try it again. And it usually takes 1 to 2 years to get decent ratings in a city. And so far, we've had great success, and we don't change anything to hope that someone in St. Louis is going to really love us if we talk about St. Louis all the time. No, what we do is we talk about the world and ourselves, and we may, make fun of ourselves. And in my opinion, if you can make fun of yourself, it gives you carte blanche to make fun of others. So that's what we do, and you don't change to hopefully be big in one city and small in the others. You make it all the same.
What are some of the most die-hard cities that you guys are syndicated in where these fans are just so loyal?
Believe it or not, every one of them. We have the best listeners in the world, and we're very fortunate to have people who know who we are. It still blows me away that this happened. It's just hard to believe at times.
What is it about your fan base that is so great? Why are they the best in the world?
They're, in my opinion, smart, funny. They're educated. They're uneducated. They're just well-rounded people who all they want, they can be doctors all the way down to, ditch diggers. All they want is a good laugh, and everybody wants a good laugh.
You've had so many great moments over these years on the Bob and Tom Show. What are some that come to your mind?
Well, the biggest for me is having the opportunity to interview Paul McCartney one-on-one. That was, a huge Beatles fan. And having that moment it was just, me and Paul, it was the highlight of my career, really. It was pretty special.
What is that like when you walk into the room and there he is, Sir Paul McCartney? Did it seem like real life? Were you nervous? How did this go down?
I was nervous, and it happened again. It was something I got a phone call from our program director the morning of his concert here in town. He goes, "Hey, Bob, would you like to interview Paul McCartney?" And I said, "Is this a joke?" And I said, "I'd love to." He goes, "Well, be at the arena at, I don't know, probably his show was at 8. I had to be there at like 5 or something." And I'm sitting in this room listening to them sound check. I can hear them in the distance. And it's over with, and next thing you know, the door swings open, and there's McCartney. And, I was as nervous as could be. I mean, what do you ask the man who's had every question thrown at him? And you just, hopefully, you're able to engage a conversation with a guy, and you don't bore him to death. So we had about a 15-minute chat, and, it's still as memorable as could be. It was definitely a highlight. We've been fortunate enough to meet many great celebrities, and you just realize that, what, these people are just like us. They are no different than the rest of us. They just have their picture in the paper more than we do, that's all.
What is the key to having a great interview, and what do some people do wrong when these interviews go down south real fast?
Well, be informative. Ask them questions that most people don't ask. I mean, I think one of my favorite interviews was when we had Michael Anthony from Van Halen on, and we started talking about him as a kid, finding out more about him as a human being. And I mean, did you know that he was a trumpet player in a marching band? No. That's the kind of stuff, that people want to know more about their celebs that you don't see in the tabloids. Get in there and find out about them. And also, it's just like in journalism: who, what, when, where, why. And it really does answer and help you write questions and get good answers.
Now, when it comes to interviews, you guys are so nice to comedians, giving them their big break. How does it feel that you guys have helped launch so many radio careers for comedians?
Well, comedy is what we do and what we enjoy, and the one thing that we enjoy just as much as our listeners is we love a good laugh. And if you're a good comedian, we'll have you come on and hang with us. It's amazing how many great comics there are that are truly funny, and then how many comedians there are that are more like actors who have memorized monologues, and they go out and do a 45-minute show. The ones who are truly funny, that are just naturally funny, are the ones that we like hanging out with, and they're usually the ones who go on to great success. And again, the reason we have them on is because we, just like our listeners, love laughing. So what better thing to do than to feature some of America's greatest comics?
Who are some of the best comics that you guys have had on the Bob and Tom show?
Well, you have, you go through, George Lopez. We got George Lopez. We started him when he was just a pup. I mean, we were his first radio thing, and we had him on as a regular. Both Tom and I were part of George's, or I should say George was part of Tom's wedding, and George is an old friend, and he's become a huge star. Brad Garrett, Tim Allen, some of my new favorites are Tommy Johnigan, Chad Daniels, Jimmy Pardo. There are just so many great people that are out there. And we've had hundreds and hundreds of, I should say thousands of comics come through the doors, and every one of them are brilliant. There are a couple of exceptions, but we're very fortunate. And if you can hang with us for 3 hours and just be funny, and most of them aren't even using their material because they're just naturally funny people. And it's a blast. I mean, again, it's all about the laugh.
And now, when did you guys begin putting on live comedy shows?
Oh my, that would be more of a question for Tom. He and some other folks helped get that started. And Chick and Christy go out on those all the time. I don't know, it might have been 10 years ago.
Now, with all the comedians that you guys feature at the show, how happy are they when they find out that they're not going to be at a comedy club for once and in front of a live, large audience? Oh,
well, for them, it's tremendous because they only have to work Friday and Saturday instead of working, Wednesday through Sunday. So it's a two-city gig, and they're in front of usually a sold-out crowd. So, yeah, it makes them very happy to be part of it.
So now here are some big news for the Bob and Tom show. You guys are going to be going into the Radio Hall of Fame. When did you guys first find out that you were going to be nominated?
Well, I didn't know I was nominated. I found out, believe it or not, from a Twitter follower that I going, what's this all about? And I went to the link that he had on his tweet, and I saw, I'll be damned, I'm nominated for the Radio Hall of Fame. I had no idea. And then when I found that out, it was, I think, 2 or 3 days later that it was confirmed that we were indeed being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it's still a real shocker.
How honored are you? Does this make all the work that you guys have put in all these years, does it just make it even more worth it?
Well, yeah, it's nice being recognized by your peers, and it's still somewhat shocking. I mean, we're just hanging out in the studio, yucking it up, and all of a sudden now we're Hall of Famers. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Now, it won't be for a few more months, but do you see you and Tom going to this event?
Yeah, it is next month. It's on the 5th of November, and yeah, we are definitely attending.
Because that must be such an honor to have put in all this work in radio, and they nominate you into the Hall of Fame. Now, for kids like me that are breaking into radio in 2015, what is some advice you would have for us?
Well, again, it's keep your listener entertained. It is entertainment. That's why people tune in. They love being entertained. They love being informed. They love laughing. They just want to know what's going on around them. And if you can do that, in my opinion, that's the recipe for a successful show.
And now, where do you see radio going the next 10 years? Because it has changed so much in the last decade because of PPM, this and that. So what is the future of radio and podcasts?
Radio and well, it looks like and podcasts will be around forever. The one thing about I guess broadcasting, that it's kind of like cable and satellite television now, where there's 1,000 channels. Which one do you watch?
Yeah.
I mean, now that there's there's I don't know how many podcasts, 10,000. Which one do you listen to? And radio stations, there's tens of thousands across the country. Yeah, which one do you listen to? The one you listen to is the one that entertains you, and you will eventually find it. There's a lot to go through, but what's your favorite channel on satellite dish? There's one that you always go to, and you'll eventually find that broadcast entity that will entertain. So there's always room for more, but people weed out the bad ones, and we'll find the good ones.
And now, how much longer do you see yourself in radio doing the Bob and Tom show each morning?
I'll always be in radio. I'm getting up in years. I don't know how much longer my body will take it, but I just don't know.
Is it one of those things where you're just going to sort of play it by ear since you love doing the show each morning?
Yeah, probably. It's just right now there's I just hope I wake up every morning.
Yeah, I do know exactly what you mean, Bob. I'm the same way. I take each day as it is, and I just come here prepared to put on the best show possible, which is what I respect about you, the fact that you have spent all these years putting in so much effort and so much passion each and every morning to entertaining your audience. So before I let you go, where can people find your work online and on the radio?
Well, online, we are at bobandtom.com, and on the radio, it's there's too many to memorize, but
Yeah.
our mothership is WFBQ Q95 in Indianapolis.
And now, Bob, my ultimate goal is to be the next outspoken person for my generation, and you guys are one of my influences. So for you to even call into my podcast is an absolute honor. So, Bob, thank you so much for being on Happy Hour. It means the world to me.
Well, thanks, Ryan, for inviting me, and great success to you and your future, and radio is red hot.
Thank you, Bob. Have a good rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
And that was Bob from the Bob and Tom Show. I'm in awe that he would even consider doing the interview. What happened was I sent him a tweet. I sent a lot of people tweets, celebrities, big-time radio names. Like I've sent them to Howard. And you don't even think there's a chance in hell that they would even come on your show. But when I saw Bob tweet at me, yeah, I would love to. Let's make that happen. I can't explain how pumped I was and how much that meant to me being a 22-year-old trying to break into this business, being a 22-year-old that has loved this business since I was in fourth grade. I remember they were on 100.7 in Joliet, Illinois. But the thing was, I lived in the Chicagoland area, and that's a different city in Illinois. So I would barely pick up the reception on the Bob and Tom Show. But each morning that I listened to it, I absolutely loved it. Also, I respect the longevity and the classiness that they have brought to radio, and the fact that they never resort to exploitation or making fun of people. The fact that he just wants to entertain people, like he said, if it's someone working in an office or if it's someone that's digging a ditch, that he just wants to entertain them and to keep them entertained each and every morning as they go about their 9-to-5 job. So the fact that Bob would even come on the show means the world to me. This has been Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
This is an official broadcast of Hoppe Radio. For more info, check out hopperadio.com and hoppiesworld.com.